Welcome to Transfers on Tour. I'm the Roadman, and we've got a Dagul and The Roadman. Welcome to Transfers on Tour. I'm the Roadman. Joining me is Dagul. How's it going, sir?
It's going good. I feel honoured that I was here for a DYMA NI'N MYND, or however you try to say it. So if Colin Crossamano is watching, I apologise for butchering it. I thought this would be for an incoming that I would be joining you, but it's a strange one that we're going to be talking about, isn't it?
It is, yeah. There's a bit to it, So let's get into it. So Fabrizio Romano tweeted today, negotiations between Girona and Tottenham for Bryan Gil advancing to the final stages. Details of the formula being clarified, but Spurs, no Gil, only wants Girona, and he'd stay at the club. Now, obviously, this broke, and obviously other news has broke after this, but we'll talk about this a little bit. That little bit at the end there, or he'd stay at the club. For me, I seen a funny tweet on Twitter where someone turned around saying that, you know what I mean, Bryan Gil's forcing a move away from Tottenham by threatening to stay. How do you feel about that end of the tweet? Obviously, you know, we know what's happened now, but that part of the tweet there, how do you feel about that or he'd stay?
Well, the first thing, Dave, is we have to look at it is we heard a couple of days ago that this is the club he wanted, didn't he? He had come out, or it had broken, that he has specifically said it's this club. I want to go here. I don't know anything about the club apart from it's in Spain. I don't know if it's north, south, east, western Spain. But it looked like he wanted to go back to his home country. And it looked like he'd made a very, very clear calling card. This is where I want to go. Which would obviously be a big calling card to Girona. So you'd think, okay. And I actually thought this one would move along quite swiftly. Not a big fee. Off we go. Bye-bye, Gil. Go back to Spain where you're more comfortable. And I can appreciate that and understand it. That maybe homesick, it just hasn't worked with managers. So I thought, here we go. Those famous words. But yeah, that bit where he'd stay at Spurs, making him sound like a bit of a diva, and that's what he's going to do. It is a strange thing to say, and that tweet was right. It's he hasn't exactly got the clout to say that, really, has he? He's not like he's not like and I hate to bring this guy into it, a Conor Gallagher, who's going to be like, right, I'm going to run my contract down because I want this. He's a bit part player that no manager has had faith in. And when he has had minutes, he hasn't really taken advantage of it, apart from one game at Crystal Palace. So the whole thing is a bit strange, Dave, especially or he'll stay at Spurs. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree with everything you say. I think it's a really weird one. And when we get into it, there's a lot to break down, and the whole deal just seems so strange. But, you know, that or he'd stay, that sounds like kind of like a threat. And like I said, when I seen that tweet, I found it so hilarious because it was like, oh, sell me, get me out there to a club now, or I'm going to stay here. Like, you know, Ange clearly has no interest in using him or anything like that. And, you know, he clearly wants to move, and Girona were coming in. And obviously this was some sort of deal that probably Girona was trying to force. You know what I mean? So anyway, we'll move on to the next part, which was obviously...
Can I just add one thing with this, just very, very quickly? It'll be like 10 seconds. What we have to also take into respect is Fabrizio Romano has tweeted this saying, or else I'll stay. I can't see Bryan Gil going, like, having the personality or whatever to say, you do this or I stay. This could be a phrase that has been like broken telephone. You say one thing, and as it goes down the chain. So it could be that, because I don't see Bryan Gil saying those words personally. But no, maybe he did, but I don't think he did.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it's just the whole point is if this deal doesn't go through Girona, he's staying for the season, basically that type of situation. And obviously, we're just having a bit of fun with it, saying that he's trying to force the move with and saying that he's going to stay at Tottenham, etc. You know, we don't actually believe he's walked into leaving and said, I'll stay. But anyway, moving on.
Or Ange. I wouldn't want to say that to Ange either. He don't look like he want to piss off.
No, that's it. So a second tweet came out 2 hours later, which was the here we go, the DYMA NI'N MYND from Fabrizio Romano. Bryan Gil to Girona. Here we go. Deal agreed for Spanish winger to join on an initial loan from Spurs. Exclusive details, Bryan Gil will extend his contract at Tottenham with a €50 million release clause. Girona have priority to sign him, or other clubs can do it up to the player. Now, when I read this and we spoke about this, it seemed very strange. Like, okay, we're giving him a new contract. We know he's got a year left on his. Girona have got first choice to sign him for €15 million. I for one, I didn't understand the full aspects of this. And I mean, to be fair, I still don't. Like, I get he's got a year left on. And we spoke about this. We get that, obviously, you know, it's 15 million. But if Girona are going to pay the 15 million at the end of this loan, why aren't they paying it now? Is this some sort of like, okay, he hasn't had much game time. He had a failed loan at Seville. He's pretty much barely played for Tottenham. So is this somehow like their way of like testing the waters with him? Like, get him in for a year and effectively test the waters and see if he can actually perform. And if he does, we'll pay the 50 million release clause. But there's nothing been said about any obligations, anything like that. It's just a straight loan, but he's signing a new contract with Tottenham. And it's kind of like, it's really weird, isn't it? How are your thoughts on that?
So full disclosure here. Now, I've been up since 3:30 in the mornings, didn't get a good night's sleep. Watched the Spurs game, obviously. And as I'm 45 years old now, I'm starting to enjoy these afternoon naps and with my health. So I had an afternoon nap, woke up, and then WhatsApp was going mad, Twitter was going mad. And you know those things when you see it and you have to go like that to adjust your eyes because you've just woken up? I went through that moment with this. Because I was like, did I read he's about to sign a contract extension? And then it was correct. He signed an extension. And you know what? You've just added an extra depth to it. And I'll get to that bit in a minute. I literally went to my Twitter and said, listen, can people please help me with this? Generally, I'm not taking the mickey. I don't understand the logic behind this deal because apparently teams... We did it on yesterday and beforehand on Evening Brews where teams weren't prepared to apparently, and I will say apparently because it was all ITKs and whatever, saying that Seville wouldn't pay the £6 million or euros transfer fee. So the way that we've got about this is a team won't pay the €6 million transfer fee. So what we're going to do is send him out on loan, offer him a new contract, and put in the €15 million release fee. So that's the part I didn't get. I genuinely didn't get. I wanted to get like people to talk to me and say, this is why, blah, blah, blah. And I'll get onto that in a minute. But the thing that's just stumped me with what you said that makes this even weirder for me now is there's no obligation. There's no or even option. It's... So I asked these people, and they're like, listen, he's got 12 months left on his contract. So we tied him down with 12. Apparently, the deal's 12 months with an option to extend it again. So if it's that, kind of get it. I'm still at a loss this. But I get you sign it. You get a loan fee for him. Understand. But if he comes back and he hasn't done well, you've got this 15 million release fee, which teams will have to offer, and then we can't do anything, or they're not, and then Spurs have the option to either say, right, it didn't work out, we're not going to extend it, off you go, like the club have, and I'll praise the club, what they did for Tanganga and they did for Sessegnon. They had the options to extend, but realised, so they have this season shown that they are willing to do that. But if they don't, and they send him out on loan again, then that's the bit I don't get. I just don't get 12 months left on his contract. It could be, and you go back to, not one manager has backed him. Not one manager has given him a full chance because they haven't had faith in him. He's gone out on loans and they haven't worked. I'm just lost. Like I said, that you actually... we had a little chat behind the scenes, and you've just thrown a curveball to me with the no option on obligation, because that is really strange.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. We'll move on to the last one, which is pretty similar to the one we just shown, but obviously we're bringing it out because it was obviously a new development, which is more on the Brian Hill story. Documents are being prepared for Spurs to extend his contract and include a 50 million release clause at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I understand Brian's expected to sign his contract and then join Girona on loan on Monday. Plan clear. Here we go. Confirmed. Now, obviously, we've just been discussing then obviously why there's no obligations, there's no anything like that. And now on the other tweet, we've seen obviously it mentioned that Brian Hill's leaving his options open as well. So it's kind of one of them. Like he clearly wants to move away from Tottenham. It hasn't worked for us. He had failed loans, etc. This, like I was saying, I think this is a way to hopefully he goes to Girona. He gets many, good game time. And he shows what he's worth.
Yep.
But like you said, if he doesn't and it's a failed move, well, Girona ain't going to buy him. Then he's back at Tottenham with a new contract, which means obviously wages we don't know. Has he asked for more wages? I mean, is he staying on the same wages? Is he getting less wages? There's a lot of aspects to this, and it's a very strange one that people are okay with it. There's not many people who care about this. It's like, it's fine, it's whatever, but if it came out that he was getting more wages and he goes on a loan move to Girona, he has a failed loan. He comes back. We've got to try and find him a new club to do this with. And his value could decrease even more past the 6 million euros we were offered. I mean, if he keeps failing and failing and failing, the value of him could get to the point where we're just going to have to say, you know what, leave on a free. And then it's wasted money on the solicitors for the contract, because clearly you have to pay them. It's not done for free. You wasted money on the wages that hopefully Girona are paying, but knowing Levy, he's probably paying some of it. Then if that fails loan, he comes back to then obviously we have to pay his full wages there. Then try and do more deals to try and get him sold again. And if it comes to a point where we have to release it from his contract, that's going to cost solicitors' fees. That's going to cost more money to him. It's very strange, isn't it? It's kind of like, wow, it's a bit weird.
So I can't remember any loan spells he's had, but I know for a fact he's had 2 that I can remember. He went on loan to Valencia, did very well there, came back. Obviously, I don't know if at that point we wanted to keep him and see if he could do it with the manager at the time, but he did very well there. That didn't develop or transpire into a transfer. Then Sevilla took him back. So not only did we give Lamela and 23 million to the club, we then sent him back on loan to play for his club. They didn't want to know. Reportedly, they weren't prepared to pay the 6 million euros to bring him home. And now this has happened. Now, like I said, I really want and I really hope people in the comments when you watch this, I'm really not taking the mickey or doing anything. When I said I genuinely don't understand this. This isn't me going, oh, this is Levy up to tricks. That's not me doing this here. I don't understand the logic behind it, especially, or actually, I may have understood the logic last season or the season before when we weren't getting rid of everyone. But this season, we can all praise the work the club have been doing getting players out. But this one for me, like we were saying, and I will say this behind the screen, that for me, and we'll end it here, is it's like the club have gone to the casino and put 15 million euros on black and hope it comes in.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see it, won't we, David? But honestly, people genuinely can explain this to me. Not a piss take, not, oh, it's Levy. I genuinely want to know, or we genuinely want to know, what is the logic behind this?
Yep, so there you go. Let's end it there. This is your Transfers on Tour special. Obviously, if any of the news pops up, we will be back with the pre-record. It was live, but, news is dreadful and we're not getting anywhere with it, so we thought we'd do this as a pre-record and come up as and when news is coming on. So there we have it. See you next time. Brian, do you want to take it away?
Always. And as always, Levy out.